Mhm. Okay, everybody, you guys know who I am. I'm Crystal Aviles, and I teach heated, all levels, heated power here at Thrive on Sundays at 10 a.m. and Tuesdays at 6:30. Today's power class is going to be a little different than our normal heated power classes, obviously from the circumstances, but also I wanted to do an immune boosting type yoga flow. So those of you that know your practice and you guys can kind of juice it up as we go. I'm not going to be offering any inversions or arm balances. There will be places along the way that you can feel free to take an inversion at your house if you want to. Today's flow is going to focus on boosting our immunity. So we're going to be doing lots of twists. Twists actually detoxify all of your organs, and we're going to be doing lots of heart openers, which brings blood flow to your thymus gland. Your thymus gland sits in between your breastbone, and it helps with your immune system and your endocrine system. So if you don't feel like twisting as much, you don't have to. This is your practice, so you take it where you want to go today. So we are going to get started in a comfortable seated position. So your leg can be out, your right leg can be out in front of the left or left in front of the right. Or maybe you have one leg on top of the other, whatever feels good. Maybe you take your sits bones and you just lift and sit it back down just to get yourself feeling grounded. So we're just going to close our eyes here and just settle in. Just breathe in your normal breath cycle. Maybe your hands are up for receiving, or maybe they're down for grounding. Just breathing here. Maybe you roll your shoulders down your back. Just letting everything go, trying to block out any noise that's around you. Maybe you begin your Ujjayi breath here, or your yoga breath, breathing in through your nose and out through your nose, creating that audible swirl in the back of your throat. Trying to focus on this breath throughout your practice today, letting it bring you back to the present moment. Maybe you set an intention for your practice today. Let's begin to gently open our eyes. And we're going to take an inhale, bringing our arms overhead and clasping them up, palms towards the sky. So let's take an inhale here, really lifting through your rib cage and your shoulders. And exhale, just bringing your hands out in front of you. Let's inhale, lift up, really lifting up through that rib cage. And exhale, bring it down in front of you. Inhale, lift up. This time we're going to unclasp our hands, bringing your right arm down. Maybe your palm is on the mat, or maybe your forearm, and you're just going to bring your left arm over. Really feeling a nice stretch here through your left side body. Maybe you look up. Maybe you look down, whatever feels good on your neck. Inhaling back up and exhaling to the other side. Same here, maybe you're on your palm or maybe you're on your forearm. Looking up or looking down. Really lengthening through that side body as you use your breath to stretch you over. Inhale, back up. And exhale, we're going to twist over to the right, dropping your left hand to your right leg and bringing your right arm behind you. Trying to really get your right arm as close into your backside body as possible as you inhale and lengthen up through your spine. And exhale as you twist with your core, looking over that shoulder. So try not to use your back or your neck as you twist. Inhale, back around, arms up overhead. And exhale as you twist to the other side. Taking that back arm, really lifting and lengthening up through that spine. And twisting with your core as you look over that shoulder. Coming back to center. Let's take one more inhale with our arms up. And let's drop our palms to the mat and come up and over to our tabletop. So you're going to have your wrists underneath your shoulders here in tabletop. And we're going to take a few rounds of cat-cow, and I'm going to offer curling your toes under as we take cat-cow, or you can keep your feet flat. So we're going to inhale as we drop our belly, look up. Exhale as you push the mat away, really rounding that upper back. Again, inhale as you drop your belly, arch your spine, look up. Exhale as you push the mat away, belly button to spine. Taking a few more of these on your own breath. Just warming up your spine here. Maybe you get organic with the movement. Really giving your body what it needs this morning to wake up. Maybe taking one more before meeting me in neutral spine. So here in neutral spine, we are going to walk our arms out in front of us, almost like you're coming into puppy pose, but we're not. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up onto those fingertips, and you're going to drop your head and neck in line with your arms. You're just using those fingertips to push back, really activating through your shoulders, your armpits, your biceps. Gaze is to the floor. Just breathing here. Really using your core. Let's mindfully and gently walk those hands back to tabletop. From tabletop, we're going to thread the needle. So we're going to inhale the right arm up, head and neck follow, and then exhale, threading it through. Putting the weight on the top part of the right hand, bringing your left arm, maybe you extend it overhead, or maybe you have spider fingers in front of your face. Rolling out on that shoulder. I will offer your thread the needle balance here by lifting your leg if you want to. Breathing here. If you have that leg lifted, bring it back down, and we're going to inhale the left arm up. You can keep it here, or you can bind it around you, and really using that shoulder to open up your heart towards the ceiling or the sky. Unbinding if you're bound, and we're going to take that left arm. We're going to bring it to the mat above us, planting that hand. You're going to walk that hand in line with the crown of your head, coming on those fingertips. Maybe your elbow is bent. And we're going to inhale and rotate open, trying to look towards that arm above. It's a little deeper heart opener. If you don't like this, you can go back to the half bind, or maybe your arm's just up in the air. Releasing here, walking that left hand back in line, unbinding that right arm. Maybe your head and neck follow as you lift it back up and then bring it back down. We're going to do the other side, so we're going to inhale the left arm up, head and neck follow. Exhale, threading it through. Maybe your right arm's lengthened overhead, or maybe you have spider fingers in front of your face, pushing through the top part of that left hand. You can stay here, or maybe you inhale that arm overhead, your right arm. Or maybe you take it and bind it behind you for a half bind. And maybe you take your balance here, lifting that leg, that right leg. Unbinding if you're bound, taking that right arm overhead, walking it in line with the crown of your head, and then coming up on those fingertips with that arm bent. You're going to inhale and you're going to roll on that shoulder, looking up towards that arm. Coming back around, walking that right hand back, coming back to your tabletop. Maybe you take a cat-cow just to release this, so inhale, look up. Exhale, pushes the ground away. Coming back to neutral spine, we're going to spread our fingers wide, curl our toes under, and we're going to push up to down dog. So making sure you're putting the weight between your first finger and your thumb. Gaze is towards your belly button. Really trying to get your hips towards the sky. Having a little micro bend in your elbows so you're not locking out those elbows. Maybe you stay in stillness, or maybe you come up on those toes, stretching those toes out. Maybe you bend one knee and then the other. Maybe you just shift your hips left to right, whatever feels good. It's making sure you're breathing and doing what feels good to your body. Coming back to stillness in your down dog, we're going to look to the top of the mat. We're going to make our way there by hop, step, or float to the top. From here, we're going to inhale with a half lift, rolling those shoulders down and back, belly button to spine. Hands can be at your shins or at the mat. And we're going to exhale, fold. We're going to do that a few times. So inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. One more time. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. We're going to take our arms out and behind us, clasping them behind our back. We're going to roll our shoulders down and back, bending your knees graciously. We're just going to exhale over, folding, getting a nice shoulder stretch here. Breathing here, letting that head hang heavy. So we're going to straighten our left leg, leaving our right leg bent. And we're going to inhale as we twist open towards the left, keeping your hands clasped. Coming back to center, we're going to bend the left knee, keeping the right leg straight. And inhale as you twist open to the right. Coming back to center, dropping those hands behind you. Coming down, we're going to take an inhale with a half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, coming all the way up. Hands together. Maybe you take a little back bend at the top. And come back to center. From here, we're going to clasp our left wrist with our right hand. We're going to take an inhale as we lengthen up towards the sky. And exhale as we lean over to the right side. Trying to keep those hips square. Looking up or looking down. Coming back up to center, switching wrists, grabbing your right with your left hand, inhaling, lifting up, lengthening towards the sky. Exhale, over to the left. Looking up or looking down. Coming back to center, we're going to take an inhale here. And exhale, swan dive all the way down. We're going to inhale with a half lift. Exhale, plant your hands going through your first vinyasa. We're going to take a few of these to warm up. So we're going to look to the top of the mat, hop, step, or float to the top. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, coming all the way up to the top. Exhale brings you right back down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant your hands going through your vinyasa. Coming to your knees if you need to in your chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. One more, looking to the top of your mat, hop, step, or float. Inhale with a half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, coming all the way up. Hands together. Exhale brings you right back down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant your hands going through your vinyasa. From down dog, we're going to inhale the right leg up, three-legged dog, really pointing those toes, lifting that leg. We're going to bend that knee in, knee to nose, and plant that foot in between your hands in your low runner's lunge. So making sure your ankle and your knee are in line here. We're going to drop our left hand inside our right foot and inhale up with your right arm. So your right arm can stay here, or you can take it and bind it behind you to really twist and open your heart. Really getting blood flow through that thymus gland to improve your immune system. Coming back up with that arm, I want you to take that right arm, square off that right foot. We're going to take the left hand and we're going to walk it out far outside the mat, planting it down. We're going to inhale that right arm back up, and we're going to float that right arm over to the left side. Feeling a nice stretch here, your right side body. Looking up or looking down. Coming back up and around, squaring off that foot again. We're going to rotate the back foot to warrior 2 feet. So you're having that heel to arch alignment. You're going to bring the right hand inside the right foot as you inhale the left arm up. Really taking that right arm, trying to open up that leg. We're going to drop the left hand down, keeping your feet as they are. We're going to walk our hands up to the left side, upper left side of the mat. Coming on those palms, we're going to inhale with a half lift and exhale, fold down. It's like a modified, maybe humble warrior 2. Breathing here. Feeling a nice stretch here, probably in your piriformis is where you should be feeling it. Hopefully that's where you're feeling it. Walking those hands up and over to center, rotating that right foot to parallel, and then switching sides. So you're taking your left foot and shooting it to the back, having that heel to arch alignment in your feet. You're going to walk those hands to the right upper or right back side of your mat, taking an inhale here, and exhale, just folding down. So we're basically just switching sides. If you want to come on those fingertips to use it to push back a little more, you can. I like it down on my palms. Walking those hands back to center. I know you guys get a nice view of my bottom here, but we're going to take a twist. So we're going to bring our right hand underneath our face in this wide leg, and you're going to inhale the left arm up. Bringing the left hand down to replace where the right hand is. And then you're going to inhale the right arm up. Bringing that hand back down, we're going to rotate the right foot to the front of the mat, plant your hands down, and go through your vinyasa. Or you can always skip and go straight to down dog. So we're just going to switch sides. We're going to inhale the left leg up, really pointing those toes, lifting that leg. We're going to bend that knee in, knee to nose, and plant that foot in between your hands. So here we're going to take our right hand inside the left foot and inhale the left arm up. Runner's lunge twist. You can stay here, or maybe you bind it behind and rotate that heart open to the sky. Unbinding if you're bound, bringing that left hand down. We're going to walk the right hand to the outside of the mat, palm flat. Inhaling the left arm up and bringing it overhead, maybe as you look up towards that arm. Really using your breath. Coming back around, planting those hands, adjusting the back foot to warrior 2 feet here. Bringing the left hand inside the left foot and inhaling the right arm up. Really trying to get that chest rotated open to the sky. Bringing that right hand back down. You're going to walk your hands to the upper right hand side of the mat. Coming up on fingertips or palms, we're just going to take an inhale and exhale, fold. Still bending into that left leg. Walking those hands back to center, rotating those feet to 5-pointed star feet, keeping your left foot as is, rotating the right foot to the back of the mat, bringing those hands, walking them to the back upper left hand side of the mat. Maybe you're on your fingertips or palms. Inhale up and exhale as you fold down. Really bending through that right leg. Walking those hands back, rotating back to this wide leg. So here, I'm going to offer you guys to take an inversion if you want. I won't be. What I'm going to do is widen my stance really wide and just try to get my head to the mat. So do whatever you feel like your practice needs in your wide leg fold. Maybe you skandasana. Maybe you take another twist. Maybe you just reach your hands to the back of the mat. Whatever feels good. No rush if you're taking an inversion, but whenever you're done, you're just going to rotate the left foot to the front of the mat, walk your hands back around, adjust your feet and step back to plank and go through your vinyasa, or skip and go to down dog. So from down dog, we're going to look to the top of our mat, hop, step, or float to the top. Inhale with the half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, coming all the way up. Hands together through heart center to Tadasana. From Tadasana, we're going to bring our big toes together, heels apart. Inhale, our arms up. Exhale, sink into your chair. So here you want to make sure you can still see your toes. No cheerleader butts, tuck in that tailbone. Really trying to lift up through that rib cage and those shoulders. Belly button to spine. Imagine you have a block in between your palms. You're activating through those arms. Let's take one more breath. And exhale into Tadasana. So from Tadasana, we're going to take a tree pose. So we're going to put the weight through our right foot. You can kickstand here, bring your foot to your calf, or you can come all the way up and into your upper thigh. Whatever feels good. Holding here. Really trying to bring that connection between your foot and your thigh or your leg. Your core's activated. We're going to release that foot off of that leg and you're going to shoot it back to Warrior 3. Trying to flex that back foot so it's flat as if you're pushing it up against the wall behind you. Really think about lifting up through your lower back and energy out your body, your fingers. We're going to step the left foot to the back of the mat, coming into crescent. So here in your crescent lunge, really lunging through that right leg. Lifting up through the rib cage, the shoulders, energy out those fingertips as you sink a little lower. We're going to drop the right hand back, left arm out front. Really looking over that shoulder. Let's drop the right hand to your left hamstring, bringing the left arm over this reverse crescent. Challenging your balance here. Coming back around, maybe the way you came, coming up to crescent, planting those hands down, going through your vinyasa. So we're going to inhale the right leg up, three-legged dog. You can stay here, bend that knee and open those hips. Maybe you rotate your ankle around. Maybe you rotate your hip around in circles. Whatever feels good. Coming back to three-legged dog. We're going to bend that knee into nose. Plant that foot in between your hand. Trying to widen your stance here a little bit more, scooting that left foot back, and then dropping that knee to the mat. So you want to make sure your ankle and knee are in line here. Maybe you just plant your hands to the mat. Soften through that left hip flexor as you bend forward. We're going to come up, bringing your right hand to your right thigh. We're going to bend the left leg and inhale the left arm up and around, grabbing that foot. So using your hand on your thigh for balance, or maybe you bring it down to the mat. I can't quite get there. And just trying to bring that left foot towards your body as much as you can to your edge, but soften through your hip flexor. Just a different way of stretching our hip flexor here. Maybe you can take both hands behind you, grabbing your foot. Releasing without slingshotting, dropping your hands to the mat. We're going to straighten that front foot, front leg, or that right leg. Maybe taking an inhale and exhaling, folding over that leg in splits prep. Staying here. Or maybe you point that right toes, those right toes flexing that foot back towards you and then pointing and flexing. Feeling a nice stretch here on the top part of that foot. This is good for runners. When you get those little shin splints, your shins are sore. So work that out. Coming back up to runner's lunge. Planting those hands, curling those left toes under, coming off that knee. We're going to look to the top of our mat and we're going to step up to standing splits. So you're really trying to lift that left leg that's lifted in the air. Trying to lift it as high as you can. Maybe trying to get your nose to meet your leg. Maybe your hands are beside you, or maybe you take a supreme balance. Whatever feels good. Stepping that left foot down to meet right, bringing your big toes together, heels apart. We're going to inhale, coming up, and exhale into your chair. Rolling those shoulders down and back. Exhale into Tadasana. Grabbing a sip of water if you need to. We're going to move on to the other side. Is everybody doing okay? I'm going to grab myself a glass of water. Okay, starting at the top of our mat again, here in Tadasana. Let's inhale the arms up and exhale back into your chair. Trying to see those toes, tucking that tailbone, really lifting up through that rib cage and your shoulders. Trying not to lift up out of your elbows, and locking out those elbows is not good. Let's exhale to Tadasana. We're going to do tree on the left side. So coming into whatever version you did before. So planting your, did I do the right side before, right? So planting or putting the weight through your left foot, bringing the right foot in, either to your ankle at a kickstand, or to your calf, or to the upper inside of your leg. Really using that connectivity between your leg and your foot, using your core. Breathing here. We're going to release that foot and we're going to shoot it back to warrior 3. So really pushing flat foot through towards the back of the wall with that lifted, that right foot, that lifted leg. Trying to lift your lower back towards the ceiling, creating one line of energy here. Let's step the right foot back to the back of the mat, coming into crescent. Lunging into that leg, that left leg. As you lift up, inhaling up through your rib cage and your shoulders. As you lunge a little deeper. We're going to take the left arm back this time, right arm out front, coming into this twisted crescent. Looking over that shoulder. Dropping the left hand to your right hamstring and right arm over. This reverse crescent. Inhaling back around to crescent lunge and planting your hands down, going through your vinyasa. From down dog, we're going to inhale the left leg up, 3-legged dog. Stay here, bend and open that knee or that hip. Maybe you rotate your ankle or your knee, your hips, whatever feels good. Keeping those shoulders squared. Let's come back to 3-legged dog. We're going to bend that knee in towards your nose and then plant it in between your hands into runner's lunge. Maybe lengthen your stance here, your runner's lunge, and then drop that right knee to the mat. So staying here, making sure your ankle and knee are in line. Maybe you just lunge a little bit, softening that right hip flexor so you feel a nice stretch here. Thank you. Coming up, planting your left hand to your left thigh, bending that right knee, taking your right arm up and over, grabbing that right foot, and bringing it in towards your body as you lunge into that left leg, feeling an even deeper stretch here in your hip flexor. If you can get your left arm to the ground, that's great. I can't, so I'm going to keep it on my thigh. Maybe you take both hands to grab that foot. So maybe bring your left hand back to grab as well as your right. And then soften a little more through that hip flexor. Without slingshotting, releasing that foot, dropping those hands to the mat, we're going to come into splits prep by straightening that left leg, flexing that left foot. Maybe you take an inhale and exhale, folding over that leg. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you point those left toes, feeling a stretch in the top part of your foot, and then flex it back. And then point and flex. Doing whatever feels good to your body. Whenever you're done, coming back up to your runner's lunge. Curling those right toes under, coming off that knee, bringing your hands out in front of you, looking to the top of your mat. You're going to push off, coming into standing splits. Really trying to lift that right leg up towards the sky. Maybe you take your supreme balance here. Maybe you can lift that right leg a little higher. When you're done playing, bringing that right foot in line with your left, bringing your big toes together, heels apart. We're going to inhale up and exhale into your chair. Holding here. Sinking a little deeper. And exhaling into Tadasana. Maybe taking a sip of water before we move on to our last flow. Then we'll get into some back bends. How you guys doing out there? I guess everybody's on mute, can't hear. Not the best shirt to wear when you're teaching, where it's light. Is it off now, the mute? How's everybody doing? I'll ask again. How's everybody doing? Good. Oh yeah, y'all are on mute too. Yeah. All I need is one. Okay, whenever you're ready, we'll come back to the top of our mats. We're going to step it up a notch now. So bringing those big toes together, heels apart. We're going to inhale our arms up and exhale, sinking into your chair. We're going to bring those hands together through heart center. We're going to take an inhale and exhale, twisting to the right, bringing that left arm on the outside of the right leg, checking in with those knees, making sure they're in line and not one is shooting out in front of the other. And just really trying to rotate and twist here. Remember that twists detox our organs so that we keep our immune system nice and healthy. Putting the weight through your right foot, you're going to lift the left leg up, step it back to crescent, twist. Breathing here. Let's untwist up and around to crescent, and then open up, warrior two. So really trying to have that heel to arch alignment here, adjusting your feet as necessary as you lunge into that right leg. Looking over those right fingertips, rolling your shoulders down your back. Really checking in with your hips and making sure you're not here or here, that you're in a neutral spot, lengthening out through your fingertips. Let's flip the front palm, take an inhale, and exhale back, peaceful. Your left hand can be down your leg, or maybe you have it in a half bind. Whatever you're doing, you're just lunging into that right leg. Coming up and over, bringing that right hand down to your right thigh, left arm up and over into your side angle. If you can leave your arm here, your right arm on your right thigh, or you can bring it down to the mat if you'd like, whatever's in your practice. Whatever you're doing, really just trying to rotate that heart open and your side angle. Coming back up into warrior two, just to straighten that front leg, shoot your hips to the back, arms out front, coming in to your version of triangle. So putting weight through your big toe so you don't lock out that knee. Maybe your hand is at your top of your foot, your shin, inside your foot, or peace fingers. Just really imagine you're between two panes of glass here, rotating open. Maybe you take a half bind to really open that heart and bring blood to that thymus gland. Let's bring that left hand to your hip, your left hip. Looking straight out in front of you, we're going to push off, coming into half moon. So you can keep your right hand grounded to the top right-hand corner of your mat, or maybe you try to lift it up off the mat for some added balance. You're flexing the back, lifted left foot flat towards the wall, and your left arm is lifted towards the ceiling. Looking up or looking down. We're going to drop the left hand down, squaring off those hips. And we're going to take that left leg, we're going to bend that knee. We're going to sit it behind the right leg off to the side, and we're just going to sit down to our bums. So we're already set up here in this seated spinal twist. So we're going to inhale the left arm up and over, right arm behind you, really lifting and lengthening through that spine. Untwisting, coming back around. We're going to come to our knees, so you're going to untwist to your knees, spreading your fingers wide, curling those toes under, and coming up into down dog. So from down dog, we're going to inhale the right leg up. We're going to be coming in to pigeon on the right side. So you're going to bend that knee in towards nose, set it behind your right wrist, and scoot your left leg back straight behind you. If you don't want to come into regular pigeon, I know this is hard for some of you guys, you can come into recline pigeon. So let's take some waterfalls here, bringing your hands to the outside of the mat. We're going to inhale, look up. Exhale, float down. Inhale, back up. Exhale, float down. Maybe one more time as you inhale up. And exhale, float down, coming into your pigeon. So here in pigeon, maybe you want to thread the needle in your pigeon. Maybe you want to take sleeping pigeon. Maybe you want to just stay in your regular pigeon, whatever feels good. We're going to walk those hands back up from your pigeon. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you take your bind where you take your left arm up and around, grabbing your left foot, coming into your king pigeon if you want to bring it to your elbow, and then your right arm over, or just bringing your left leg in towards your body. After you're done releasing, bringing that left hand down, right hand down, curling those left toes under, coming off that back knee, lifting your right leg up towards your chest, and then shooting it back to three-legged dog. Staying here with your three-legged dog, we're going to open that hip. You can stay here, or you can flip your dog. Really lifting those hips in your flip dog. Lengthening out through that lifted arm. Looking back behind you, coming back and around, three-legged dog. Maybe you roll out here to your plank and go through your vinyasa with the 3 legs. Bringing that foot down to down dog. Looking to the top of your mat, we're going to hop, step, or float to the top. Let's inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, coming all the way up. And sinking into your chair. So here we're switching sides, bringing your big toes together, heels apart. Hands together through heart center. Take an inhale and exhale, twisting to the left this time. So bringing your right arm on the outside of the left leg. Checking in with those knees, making sure they're not splaying out. Really rotating open here. Putting the weight through your left foot, we're going to lift the right and step it back to this twisted crescent. Really trying to rotate open, looking over that shoulder. And twisting up to regular crescent. And then opening up to warrior 2. Having that heel to arch alignment here with your feet. Really sinking into that left leg. Let's flip the front palm. Inhale, exhale back, peaceful. Your arm can be down your leg or in a half bind. Coming back through, lifting or laying the left arm on your left thigh, right arm over and side angle. Or you can bring your left arm down to the mat or come into beach ball. Really just trying to rotate that heart open. Coming up, warrior 2, just to straighten that front leg. Shoot your hips back, coming into triangle. Putting the weight through your front big toe so you don't lock out that knee. Taking whatever version you did on the other side so we can stay balanced. If you bound that arm, maybe you bind it around this time, really opening that heart. Bringing that left arm maybe to your, that right arm, maybe to your right hip as you look out in front of you, coming into half moon. So your left hand can be on the outside edge of the left side of the mat. Right foot's flexed flat, as if you're pushing the wall away from you. Maybe you release that left hand from the ground and add a little more balance here, a little more challenge. Let's square off that half moon, bringing that right hand down, hips square. We're going to bend the right knee, drop that right foot behind the left, and just sit down, coming in to a seated spinal twist. So inhale the right arm up and over. Left arm behind. As you lengthen up through that spine, using your core to rotate you around. Coming back around, planting your hands down, unwinding this twist, coming back to tabletop and down, or back up to down dog. From down dog, we're going to come into pigeon on the left, so we're going to inhale the left leg up. Bend that knee, bringing knee in towards your nose and setting it behind your left wrist. Coming up, scooching that right leg back straight behind you, so you're in a straight line here. Maybe you bring your hands on the outside of the mat as you do some waterfalls, and inhale up, and exhale, waves it down. Inhale up, exhale, waves it down. Maybe one more time, and then landing your pigeon. Maybe you thread the needle in your pigeon. Maybe you come into sleeping pigeon. Or maybe you're just in regular pigeon, whatever feels good. Mindfully walking back up out of your pigeon. Maybe you bend the right leg, bringing the right arm over, coming into your king pigeon. Or maybe you just bring your right leg towards your body. Whatever feels good. Without slingshotting, releasing that leg, curling the right toes under, coming off that knee, lifting the left leg towards your chest, using that core, shooting it back to three-legged dog. Staying here or opening that hip and flipping over to flip dog. Lifting those hips up, reaching that arm out from behind or out overhead, energy out those fingertips. Looking back behind you, coming back around to three-legged dog. Maybe you roll out to plank, 3 legs, and go through your vinyasa. And then down dog. Coming to your knees, taking a sip of water if you need to. Then we're going to move into some back bends. I'm the only one sweating here. I know. Hope everyone's doing good. We're getting down to the very last. So we're going to come to our bellies now. Coming into our locust pose. But this time in our locust pose, zippering those legs together, we're going to take our arms out to a T and then bring them behind you and clasp them behind you. Bringing your head to the mat, roll your shoulders down and back. So we're going to inhale as we lift our upper and lower body off the mat, really lengthening down with our hands to open our chest as you look straight out and down in front of you. Breathing here. Dropping down to the mat. Maybe you release those hands as you windshield wiper those legs. We're going to come back and do that one more time with locusts. So arms out to a T and then bringing them behind you, clasping them. Rolling those shoulders down and back as you inhale and lift up, upper and lower body off the mat. Pushing that pelvis into the mat so you protect your lower back. Looking straight out and down in front of you. Breathe. Exhale down. Release those hands. Windshield wiper those legs. So now we're going to take a bow pose. So you're going to bend your knees, bringing maybe your left hand first to your ankle or to your foot with your thumb inside your foot. And then your right leg or right hand, bringing your legs in line. We're going to inhale as we lift up, pushing those feet into your hands, lifting your chest off the mat. Breathing here. Exhale down, releasing, windshield wipering those legs. So from here, we're going to bring our hands in line with our chest, curling our toes under. We're going to push up to plank. And we're going to go through your one last vinyasa. We're going to come to our knees. And we're going to come into our camel pose. So here in camel, your feet can be flat, or you can curl your toes under to be able to reach your heels a little more. So let's roll our shoulders down and back. Your thumbs can be to your creases here of your lower back, or maybe your hands are to palms are to your back, fingertips down, or fingertips up. Really rolling those shoulders back to create a shelf for your head as you push your hips forward. Dropping your head back and then trying to grab one heel and then the other. Still actively trying to push your hips towards the front. Coming back up out of your camel the same way you came. And then bringing your head to the mat, lengthening your arms beside you so you counterbalance this pose. We're going to gently come up and just sit back on our heels. So here on our heels, we're just going to close our eyes. Your hands can be down for being grounded or up for receiving. Rolling those shoulders down and back. Just breathing here, slowing down your breath a little bit. Let's slowly open our eyes. From here, we're going to slowly just sit off to the right so your feet are behind you. We're going to inhale our arms up. And we're going to exhale as we twist over to the left, bringing your right hand to the left side of your bum here. Twisting open. Coming back to center, we're going to sit back up on our heels and then sit ourselves over to the left. Inhaling those arms up and exhaling to the right. Inhaling back to center, up onto our heels. And then we're going to come over to tabletop, curling our toes under and pushing up to down dog. From here, we're going to come into our ab workout today. It's going to be a little funky. Hopefully you like it. I saw it on the gram. Got it just for you guys. So we're going to roll out to plank here. Really puffing that space through your shoulders, energy out your heels. We're going to put the weight through your left hand, rolling over to left side plank. Your right arm is lifted, or maybe you bring it overhead. Whatever you're doing, you're just lifting your hips. We're going to come back through plank, roll over to right side plank. We're going to lift the top leg, step it back to wild thing. Take your left fingertips to the back side of your head. You're going to inhale as you open up and exhale as you bring that elbow down and in. So inhale, open up. Exhale, round down. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale, round down. Coming back to right side plank. Then we're going to come back over to plank. Back over to left side plank. Wild thing here, lifting that leg, coming over, right fingertips behind your head. So you inhale, open, and exhale, fold that arm down. Inhale, open, exhale, down. One more. Coming back to plank. We're going to do that again on each side. So right side plank. Lifting that lifted leg, wild thing. Fingertips behind your head, round down, lift open, round down, lift open, round down, lift open. Coming back to side plank, then to plank, then to left side plank. Lifting that leg, bringing it behind to wild thing. Fingertips behind your head, round down, open up, round down, open, round, open. Coming back to left side plank, back to regular plank. Push back to down dog. Hop, step, or jump through to seated. From seated, let's come into boat pose. So your palms are facing towards one another, legs straight or bent, or toes to the floor. For this one, we're going to have legs bent. We're going to tap the right foot down, back up. Left down, up. Right down, left. 3 more each side. Holding your boat for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rolling down all the way to your backs, taking a long body stretch. Hugging your knees into your chest. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you take a happy baby. Grabbing those feet. Really using your biceps as you pull down, trying to get your knees to the floor. Maybe you rock back and forth, giving yourself a little back massage. Or maybe you stay in stillness. Maybe you bend one leg and then the other. We're going to release our feet, bringing our feet to the mat, arms out to a T, bringing the right foot on top of the left thigh. We're going to shift our knees to the left, dropping them to the mat, looking over your right shoulder. Maybe you stay here, maybe you take your left hand on top of that right leg and give yourself an assist. I'm really missing assisting you guys. Hopefully we'll get to gather together soon, get back to normal. Breathing here. Coming back to center. We're just going to switch sides. So bringing your left foot on top of your right, shifting your knees to the right, dropping them down, looking over your left shoulder. Staying here, maybe you bring your right hand on top of that leg and give yourself a little assist to push down gently to your edge. Whenever you're ready, coming back to center, maybe hugging your knees in one last time. Taking any other pose that you feel like you might need before coming into our final resting pose, Shavasana. So I'm going to turn the lights down here, or can I? Just to give you that added effect. So in your final resting pose, bringing your feet to the outer edges of your mat, arms out beside you, starting to slow down your breath. We'll do a body scan here like we do in class. We're going to bring awareness to our eyes first. Maybe you roll your eyes around and socket a few times, one way and then the other. Releasing any tension you're holding here. Next, bringing awareness to your jaw. Maybe you open your jaw up wide, leaving your lips generously parted, removing the tongue from the roof of your mouth. Bringing awareness to your chest, releasing any tension you're holding there. Maybe you shimmy your shoulders up underneath one another, creating a nice little secure shelf. Releasing through your arms, your elbows, forearms, down to your wrists, fingers. Bringing awareness to your core, releasing your core through your sacrum, through your hips, all the way down through your legs, your knees, soften through your calves and shins, all the way to your ankles, to your toes. Maybe point your big toes in towards one another and let them flop out. Maybe do that a couple of times until you feel really melted into your mat. Just letting go. Maybe you start to deepen your breath. Maybe you bring a little wiggle to your fingers and your toes. Maybe you feel like staying here, or maybe you begin to slowly take a long body stretch. Maybe you hug your knees into your chest one last time, showing yourself a little love and gratitude for practicing at home and joining us virtually today so that we can be together in our practice. Maybe you stay here, or maybe with heavy eyes you roll over to your most supportive side in a comfortable fetal position. And when you're ready, pushing yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Let's inhale our arms up overhead, hands together through heart center. Thank you for joining me today virtually for my first live streaming of All Levels Heated Power. I enjoyed practicing with you guys. I love and miss each and every one of you, and I hope that you go out there and stay well and spread love to others and yourself. Go in peace. Namaste.